Alright guys, so how's it going today? So we got a little problem with Big Red here. My 2010 Polaris Sportsman 850 XP. So yes, we do have another breakdown again. Right now I got ball joints that are out, but I'm gonna probably take that into the dealer, or not the dealer, but my local repair shop, and let them deal with it, because that's a bigger job than I'm willing to deal with. This is a sign that I got to put up. She took a boo-boo, but frick it, good enough. So this should be your sign right here. This is a battery maintainer. My four-wheeler stopped charging. It's no longer charging its battery. When the battery gets down to like 11 volts, the battery light comes on, and my power steering light comes on, and I lose power steering. And I lose my power steering even more when the cooling fans kick on. So I guess the cooling fans take priority over the power steering, I guess. I don't know, but they both seem to... It gets worse when everything's coming on at the same time. But yesterday I was doing some work with it. I was checking some electric fencing at our farm. I was done, and then I realized I lost one of my tie-down straps for my sprayer, so I have no clue where it went. Couldn't find it, so I backtracked everywhere. And then by the time I got done backtracking in the neighbor's field, because we are putting our cows on his land, this is our second year doing it, and he's been nice enough to let us do it. So we got an electric fence on his property to keep our cows in. I was checking the fence, making sure it was up, because the deer love to knock it down. And then my four-wheeler lost power steering, battery light come on, the whole 9 yards. Ooh. But as long as you keep the battery fully charged, which is what I'm doing right now, the machine runs perfectly fine until you kill the battery, obviously. So I started digging around on YouTube. I wasn't sure what it was. I figured, great, is it going to have to be something that I'm going to have done at their local repair shop, because I don't really want to spend a shit ton of cash, because I know this alone, getting 4 new ball joints put in, because that lower one is out, and I think that lower one's about to go out too. I talked to the lady that works there. She said that this could cost up to about maybe $400, depending on how hard they have to fight for them. But now, since I have no charge going on, I'm doing some digging around, and this is pretty much a brand new battery. This battery is probably about 3 months old, if even that. I don't remember when I put it in, but I know I made a video on it. Why is there a stick in here? How did that get in there? Bullshit. So I've watched tons and tons of YouTube videos on YouTube, and they always come back to this guy right here. Supposedly this is bad. So, of course, the $1 million question, because they said the wiring's kind of a joke, but yeah, it's right here. Supposedly this wiring harness right here, of course you can't see anything because I got my wires in the way, but this is unrelated to that. But there's supposed to be 2 sets of wires that bounce off this, which is your power, which I do see right here. You got a positive and a negative, and they should be running here somewhere. But then you got these yellow wires, which they're supposed to run to the back, and then supposedly it's behind this cover. There's a plug that you just disconnect, and then you can put your new one in. So My theory is that's probably also the issue here as well, because I've watched like 3 videos and they've always said the same thing. I know I should have probably watched more than 3 videos, but you know, it's kind of funny how I'm having the exact same problems as what these guys are having, where they're driving along, you know. Now they were mostly just joyriding, and I do that with this machine as well, but this is also a work machine. But I know on that guy, the second video I watched, he said that it got so low that his gauge turned off, which I haven't experienced that yet because I don't let it get that low. I've had it down to like 11 something volts, and I've still had this on, but the cooling fans are really slow, and then my power steering turns off. So I don't have power steering. You still have manual steering, obviously. That's the way it is, but it has that electric power on there. The electric power steering, just to kind of make it more enjoyable, I guess. Easier to steer. But it sounds like this is the problem. I forget what they call it. I've heard it like a million times, but I keep forgetting. I just can't remember now. But supposedly there's a nut on the back side. Feels like there is. There's probably one on this damn back side too. Feels like it. Apparently they're 10 millimeters, but Jesus, you're never going to be able to get anything down in there. Might be able to get a socket in there, and oh yeah, there's a nut there, and can't see there, it's too, but there's a part number here, but I don't think could be a Polaris part number, but don't really look like it. But a lot of people go with aftermarket ones, probably just for price wise. They're probably a little cheaper. I don't know what Polaris is, but that's probably what I'm going to go with. This is not a Polaris factory battery. I bought this from my repair shop, and I gave her the Polaris part number for a Polaris battery, but supposedly Polaris is not making batteries anymore, which I don't know. But this battery is not even correct for this machine because my connectors are down there now, whereas on the old battery they were up here. So my wiring needs more pinch now, which I don't like. I don't know what else to do with it. So I don't think this battery was made for this machine, and I don't think Polaris would do such a serious mess up like that, but who knows. So, yeah, and how do I know that it's not charging? Well, obviously, if you run the machine, even at an idle, it should bounce up to right around that 14 volt, maybe 14.6. You know, it has to be higher than what the battery is rated for. Like, obviously, it's a 12 volt battery, but the charging system would bounce it up to 14.6 when it's charging. If it's just sitting, not doing anything, well, that's most likely like a 12.6. You know, that's just what a battery would probably sit at when it's not doing anything. But when it's running, you know, like if you're having like an alternator on your car and you hook a multimeter up to it, it should read like 14.6 or something like that. You know, when it's just even at an idle. So, and when I did that here, if it wasn't going up, it was at like whatever the battery was currently sitting at. So, and then if you had the machine running, then you could just slowly watch the voltage drop on the multimeter. Very slowly it drops. And of course, then if you run lights and stuff, because I got LED light bulbs in here now, but these are garbage. Don't do it. I'm going back to factory bulbs. I thought LED bulbs would be cool and they'd be a lot brighter than that, but geez, these suck. Even with the third beam, I only get true light to about there. And you can do that. You know, that's, I don't know, 5 feet maybe. After that, it gets dim. You can't see nothing. Whereas the factory lights, the originals, they went right up to that power pole there. and that's quite a distance. That's pretty good. So, mind you, that's more power loss, more work on your battery, but that's why I went with LEDs, because supposedly LEDs are supposed to be better. Well, I know these are garbage. These come off of eBay, but everybody says they're garbage, no matter who you buy them from. So just stick with your factory bulbs. You'll be much happier with them. Or get an LED light bar on the front. Those are way better anyway. I was going to put a front brush guard on this thing and then put a LED light bar on there, but next machine, my new machine will get that. So supposedly this is supposed to be the problem. Forget what they call it, but basically you just have these many wires here, and then I don't know what this is. What does this do? Where does this go to? Oh, that's for the winch. It's going down to the winch thing down there. So this is for the winch, because I got a winch on the front, because I used to snow plow with this thing. There's the plow for it, buried under all that junk, if anybody's wondering. I'm not really sure what this does. It looks like it's a spare plug of some kind. I never knew what this for. What is this for? I guess I've never looked at it, but I don't have a use for it, I guess. It's a harness for something. I don't know, it's got a plug on it, so it's always been there. So must be for extra lights or something. I'm not really sure, but yeah, so supposedly that's my problem anyway, is that this thing is bad. And supposedly it's just technically 4 wires, but they said running the harness is a nightmare. So one guy I watched, he literally just cut the wire right here and then just pulled it through. And then I think you would have better luck pulling the wire in than you are back out. So I might be doing the same thing, but since he ordered a aftermarket thing, he didn't have the correct ends on it to go to the battery. It had a plug on it, like like a plug like that or something. But he said just to go ahead and cut them things off, and then you'd be fine. So, but I think if you order another Polaris factory one, you shouldn't have that problem. It should already have the connectors for it. So supposedly that's my problem. So I'm going to go on the Polaris' website. I have to go on there anyway to order the oil and engine oil and an engine oil filter. This guy will be due for his oil change. I believe the book said every 500 miles. I'm a little over that right now, but since I haven't been driving him quite as much this year in the past winter, on a normal year I'd be up about that 700 miles in 1 year, but since I haven't been driving him quite as much because of I actually had a dead battery and I was too cheap to fix it right away, or I didn't have the money anyway, so every time I wanted to drive him, I had to use my little booster jump thing to get him running. And then he also likes to leak engine oil. So that's why I don't really drive him. I'm pretty much done driving him in the wintertime, but in the summertime, I drive him all summer long, so. But I think that's my problem. That's what everybody says online anyways. This gizmo here crapped out. So I want to go on the Polaris' website, get a price idea, or to see what they cost. I think just for even an aftermarket one, they're still like $100. I imagine Polaris is like 150, which is going to kill my bank account because I'm trying to save up money to get these freaking ball joints replaced. But since I looked it up on YouTube and everybody says it's this guy, I'm going to go ahead and bet and say it's the same thing here in my case, because when you fully charge the battery, it stays charged until you run the machine, And this battery's not that old. I mean, it's only a few months old, so it can't be wore out already. I think that's bullshit if if that's the case. But I don't know. But that could be the problem, and I'm betting it is. Everybody else is saying this exact same thing, so I'm going to go ahead and say that's probably my problem. Ooh, I've never been in this. Ooh, she's tight. Wow. I've never changed the coolant on this thing either, and that's, I don't know, I think I've added coolant to it because I'm losing coolant. Where, I don't know, because it's not going into the engine and it's not leaking on the ground. So I guess it's just evaporating. It says we're still full. I don't know how clean. Well, it still smells like antifreeze. It's not dirty or anything because my finger didn't come up brown or anything. No, actually, this is my first time actually being into this guy. This is for your rad. Get back in there now. Play nice. But I've been in this, and this is like your other. This is where you put your coolant, I guess. But she's a little dirty right now, and I can't read it, so because I need to wash the four-wheeler. But she's been kind of a. Or he has been kind of a dick. So since he's been a piece of shit, I have not been taking good care of him. I guess that's on there. I call that's on there. Now, if I fix this, and that takes care of my charging system, well then maybe I'll give him a bath. I did spray him with a little bit of water because he was packed up a lot worse than this in mud. And I guess we're still a little wet over here, even though the flood's finally gone off our fields. But we keep getting hit with rain. So we had an inch of rain the other day, which was fine because we kind of needed it. But it makes miserableness for the trails that we're trying to open back up because they keep getting wet all the time, and it takes them longer to dry out. So. But yeah, I'm gonna bet that's my problem as well. I still plan on buying a new machine in a few years. It's just yeah, I guess I'm not too scared of taking on this project. I just gotta follow. It'll be easier once you get this off, and then the other little cover thing behind it that's below the headlight, the third beam headlight. And then get this panel off. I killed myself on the chain. Get this panel off, and then I should be able to see a plug down here in the bottom. So, and I finally figured out what is actually charging these four-wheelers, because this is obviously not like an alternator on a car. It's very close to that, but it's not close, really. Supposedly somewhere in the engine, I don't know where exactly where, maybe it's down there in the front, there's like a thing that spins, just like an alternator. But I think it's got little magnets or something on it. Anyways, it spins with the engine. And then that, I guess, I don't know, it spins. And then it just causes electricity. And then it's supposed to come through this wire, go through this guy. And I guess this backs it down to what's safe for the machine. So you don't overcharge it or burn something up. And then it goes into your battery. And then you got, you're safely charging your battery. But I don't know. I think the other part that's in the motor can fail as well. But if that fails, then it's going to have to go to the repair shop because I'm not doing that. But this I will probably take on. It just looks scary right now because there's lots of junk in the way. But once you get the rack off, the other little cover off, and then you get this cover off, it'll expose the wiring a lot more, so then you'll be able to see what the hell's going on. But I've routed plenty of wires in my time, like this. This is for the maintainer. I got my warning lights. This is what this is here is a warning light bar, front and rear. And of course, then I ran You guys know, a lot of you guys are going to be, what the hell is that? Well, that's a CB antenna. I'm putting a CB radio back on this thing. Ran the coax for that. Quick disconnect for that. I just got that the other day. So, and then here's my other warning light bar. And I got all kinds of wiring. Here's the switches for it. Come to find out, these areas right here are actually dead spots. There's nothing even here. So I technically could just take this off, cut these holes out, square holes, and actually permanently install those in there instead of having a cluster mess like that. So that might be something I do in the future. Maybe re-clean up that wiring a little bit better. And then, of course, we got a fairly new seat. This was a thing from last year or the year before, because the original seat crapped out or got torn wide open because of my cats. My cats are aggressive and they don't like my four-wheeler, so their claws like that right into it. So they wrecked that seat within a few months. But I mean, I'm the original owner of this machine, but it was just the last year and a half they were, for some reason, really tearing into my seat. So I don't know, stupid cats, but they love them, but yet they're a pain in the ass too, those damn cats. So, but yeah, that's, I think, what's going on there is this. So I'm going to go ahead and order one from Polaris' website while I order the engine oil and the filter too. Get that changed out, and then we'll go to the dealer. Hopefully that'll fix my problem, and then we'll go to the dealer sometime and get the ball joints replaced. I know I got a friend that says that he did his own ball joints on his he's got a Sportsman 500. It's a much older machine, but he uses it to check fencing just like I use mine, and I joyride with mine a little bit, but I don't really beat the piss out of it. So, I mean, the snowplow did most of that for me. So, you know, but we're done with that now. I don't blade with him. I didn't blade with him at all last year. I can prove it. Just look at the layer of dust. It's been sitting there for all winter, or last winter, and it's going to be sitting there all, you know. I got this big monster. Yeah. 54-inch John Deere snowblower. Goes on the front of my X724 John Deere mower. We used that last winter, this past winter. We had a hell of a lot of snow, and man, I'm glad I got that, because doing it with this would have been a pain. That was a game changer for me. Even though it's only a two-wheel drive tractor or garden tractor, that still beats this and a shovel. So I don't like people like, oh, get a blade. I got a blade, and man, I blade for 10 years with this four-wheeler, and if we had a heavy dumping of snow, it was a nightmare. And if it was wet on top of it, it was even worse. That goes right through the wet stuff like nothing. So I'm never going back to a blade. I'm sticking with the blower now. That was a $5,000 investment, plus everything I needed for the tractor too. The blower, tire chains. I got wheel weights instead of weights that I could put on the back. Wheel weights, and then the little lift arm thing for it. So, yeah. So, yeah, I don't think I'll be blading with this four-wheeler anymore. The front end's too wore out for that. Which is probably what caused the ball joints to go out early. I know a YouTuber of mine, Reesty6, he said that he's surprised to see ball joints go out this early on a machine. It's got almost 8,000 miles. But you have to keep in mind, Reesty6, for 10 years it plowed snow. And that's a heavy-ass plow. That's all pure steel. There's like no plastic even on that. It's all pure steel. So that weighs probably a couple 100 pounds. Maybe 100 pounds, maybe not quite. I don't know. It's heavy. So, you know, it makes the front end squat pretty good. And they say you're supposed to stiffen up the front suspension when you have a plow on, but I've never done that. So, which could have played a factor in it too. But I think no matter what, it's going to wear out your ball joints faster. So that's, like they say, if you put a front end loader on a 2-wheel drive tractor, you're going to wear out your front end a lot quicker. Compared to a 4-wheel drive tractor, it'd be a little harder. So, but this is a 4-wheel drive 4-wheeler, but you know, it still wore out pretty good there in the front. But I don't know. I think if we should probably be a pretty solid rig. I think once we replace this guy and then go to the repair shop and get the ball joints replaced. And the 4-wheeler was at the repair shop last year or the year before, because the shifter went out and the transmission, it broke up here. There's a little thing here where it all connects to. That broke, and the only way you could fix it is you had to literally pull the transmission out, because of how they have the bolt going through that everything rotates on. It's locked from this side and the bottom side, so you have to literally take the transmission apart in order to replace that part. So that wasn't a very expensive job. That was like $1,200, so very expensive to have done, but whatever. Ever since then, it's been fine. I've loosened there's a tension spring on this, which is down here also. I've loosened that. I've cut the spring shorter. People say to do that, and that'll make your shifting easier. It has. It definitely has helped. So cut your spring shorter. So, but yeah. Other than that, that's pretty much it. We are going to have to order a new one of those. I forget what they call it. Voltage something, I think. Regulator or something. I can't remember, but I think that's what it is. But that's what needs to be replaced, supposedly, because they, I guess, can crap out inside. So I guess that's what I'll do then. I'll order one of those while I order the engine oil filter and the oil. And then that hopefully will fix that problem. If not, well, then it's obviously more of a deeper internal problem. But for everybody that says on YouTube, it's that little guy. It's this little box right here. Then if that's it, well, that's not going to be the worst job. It's going to be a scary job for the first time, but it's got 2 bolts and 4 wires. Well, technically 3, because one is a plug, and then you got your power and ground. So the other one's just a connector, like I said, like that, but a little bit bigger, supposedly. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I'm going to take off. Just wanted to let I guess whoever watches my videos, I guess know, my subscribers and whoever else decides to watch this video. Yeah, my 4-wheeler stopped charging a few days ago, and finally looked it up on YouTube. Everybody says it's this box. So I'm going to go ahead and order a new one of those from Polaris, and then I will install it. Maybe I'll get my uncle involved. I don't know. He's got skinnier hands than me, so maybe he'll be able to fit down in there a little nicer. But I won't do that. I'm not going to rip any of this apart until I get that part here, because I can still run him the way he is. It's just that I can't run him for long. I think I've had him run up to about an hour doing stuff. So I think probably longer than that, it might start going down. But if you have that problem and you can't get the part right away, just get a battery charger or a battery at a maintainer. Maintainers are slower to charge, but they're more gentler on the battery, and you don't have to babysit them. You can just plug them in and forget them. So yeah, just keep the battery fully charged. Even if you go out to check the mail with it, it's only like a 2-minute ride. Put it right back on the charger again, or on the maintainer, and keep it fully charged, because you don't want your battery going down too much, because then you will damage your battery over time. So just keep it fully charged and whatever else. It should still run even when it gets low, but I mean, maybe to a certain point it might stop. But the lowest I've had it was 11 volts. So, but whatever. Anyways, guys, I'm going to take off. I just want to let you guys know what was going on, and if you run into that same problem, well, it's most likely this. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and look into on Polaris, and order a new one of those, see what they cost. I imagine it'll be a little more money from Polaris, but I'll have to stick with Polaris parts. I don't know if that's a part number or not down there, but it's probably not accurate anyway. So anyways, guys, I'm going to take off, so I guess I have a good day and stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Take her easy.